presence our new chairman, Chairman John Roberts. Welcome. We have also Commissioner Jim Gavin, Commissioner Stan Norton, myself, Commissioner Nate Jackson, and we have Commissioner Carl Kramer. I see Commissioner Ronnie Fox in the audience. With the staff, we have Director Paula Shaw. We have also staff Jason Gillum. We have Attorney Maria Bush. We have, let's see, Assistant to the General Counsel, Stuart Huffman. And I'm looking for, where is Erica? Oh, that's you. Okay, welcome, Erica. She's assistant also to the General Counsel. We have our security. I think that's about it. So who's going to present? Attorney Huffman, are you going to present first? Miss Erica.
I believe either one of us can.
Okay, okay.
How would you like to start this off?
I think some.
Stuart, if I could suggest the cases that you handle, you cover those, and then Erica cover those, and that way you can answer specific questions that the commission or that the committee may have.
All right, with that said and done, I'm going to go to my colleagues to the right. I'm sure Jim always have some questions.
I do. Okay. I've got a few questions.
Okay.
It's nice to see new faces. Of course, in reading these cases, we get your recommendations. So it takes a few times to learn, your recommendations and validation of the prescribed warnings or fines or fees. And so, but it looks good. Everything looked pretty good. So, just had a few questions related to, I guess, enforcement. First one is on case number 65. And on this particular case, it's just I'm just trying to learn how you guys look at this stuff. But we had an authorized civil penalty in the amount of $1,250 to maintain an active sitting business license. But it appears to be this dealer is non-compliant. And my question would be just what would be the ongoing course of action as far as having to address this particular dealer when he's obviously not replying to anything. He's just non-existent. He's out of Texas. He's using Texas temporary plates. He's got expired business county license, so which means I don't know how it affected his annual report. But I was just curious how, if is that a flag? Do we watch this guy, or is he just continue to operate out of the state of Texas?
I mean, we have the option. I can flag it in addition to my recommendation.
Okay. Well, it's just any dealer, like there's several on here that basically don't. And we see that from time to time. There seems to be more in these reviews than in the past, the ones that just don't respond for whatever reason.
If we were to get another complaint or the respondent got another notice of violation, then we would always go back and look to see if they had done that in the past. So this would show up, and we would consider this if we got another complaint in the future. So that's another way we keep track of it.
I see this, but this guy's using temporary tags. I mean, this one looks more egregious than the others because he acts like he's doing business out of the state of Texas, and just doesn't really. He's thumbing Tennessee as far as anything we've asked him to do. Records or anything, so I just did. This one just stood out a little more than. I mean, I'd put a big flag on this guy for non-compliance.
Commissioner Norton, you may want to request that there be a follow-up inspection done to recheck for the same violations rather than waiting for the 12-month period of time. That's an option that you could request along with the flag.
That'd be great. I guess that's what I'm prying just to see.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was an option. So, yes, I think we should request another inspection to see how this guy's moving along. Got to watch those folks out of Texas, right?
Oh, I can add that to the recommendation. Do we want to do a certain amount of time for the follow-up inspection?
I would defer to the staff. What is something, Paul, that would be normal for a follow-up on?
Based on the inspections here, I think within 90 days is a reasonable period of time to check for paperwork and to see if they got the county and city business license renewed and he had an insurance violation as well.
Typically, yeah. If he doesn't have his license, he's put on notice. I mean, he's got
so
some decisions
then
to make.
If he hasn't corrected at that point in time, it should be issued another notice of violation, and it should escalate through the due process.
Correct. Agree. that one just stood out as a little more egregious than the most. And we find a lot of our issues, and we see that in curb stoning and other problems we have in our industry is these guys from out of state come in and do business and they don't comply, and the consumer ultimately suffers usually from this. Okay. Let's see, and I had, moving along to case 81. We've had a similar complaint to this in the past, and it's basically good deeds and good thoughts go above the law. And I just this individual received a letter of warning. This is another one I would indicate. Obviously, we need to flag going forward. You know, his good intentions don't go beyond the law as far as how he performs as a dealer. I mean, he's obviously non-compliant with the licensing. Is this yours as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'd recommend we flag this and investigate this again in 90 days to determine if this individual's still doing what he's doing, because he's clearly not in the guidelines of the law.
If I could, Commissioner Norton, there's a distinction between investigation
Oh.
and a follow-up
Follow-up.
inspection. So I think what you probably want to clarify is that you would like a follow-up inspection.
Yes,
It may
ma'am.
end up in an investigation,
Yeah,
but
a follow-up.
okay.
And the last one I had is case 140. And this is just one of those consistency things, and I understand first-time violations, and but I'm very familiar with this open title. And in this particular case, the individual had several things going on, but one of them he had was 20 open titles, and I saw where we had a civil penalty of $500 for one. That's the fine for one open title. That particular penalty has always been consistent. In my opinion, I've had I know personally dealers have been fined $500 times how many open titles they found. Personally, I always thought that was brutal. I always thought that was.
No,
you
it's not.
catch a new tile clerk, okay? She's just been trained. She walks in and she's got 7 tiles on her desk that are not closed out. That's $3,500. Okay, so the only reason I'm saying that is enforcement should be consistent throughout, with the exception of discretion based on the dealer being good, bad. But that one just hung out there for me because I've had some of my poor compadres fined heavily. And this particular person, I didn't understand why they got off for just one $500 fine.
Well, this is my case. It looks like that the dealership was the one that had the open titles. This person was not really a salesperson for the dealership. He owns the property, which he's already sold. He sold the property. The dealership is no longer there. So I guess that's probably why we didn't go for 20 violations of open titles at $500 a piece. But I mean, we can also increase that penalty against this person.
The person's tied to the dealer and the dealer's license. I mean, it's not the individual that receives the fine. It'll be whoever owns the dealership. So, I mean, I just need clarification. And getting to know how we read these cases, we'll better understand when we ask these questions, the logic behind the recommendation. And this is just one that I think, we got to be consistent and not set a precedence that it's an arbitrary penalty going forward, because it's going to come up again. Open titles are a common occurrence, and by the staff's head acknowledging that it is a necessary thing, because open titles leads to a lot of problems, and I understand that.
Yeah, if we don't send a firm statement about open titles, you open yourself up to curb
Can of
stoning.
worms,
It's
so
impossible.
it's not necessarily, in my opinion, it's the individual you'll be going after. That operation of business has a dealer's license assigned to it, and that there lies the responsibility and ownership to make sure that they're in compliance. So, anyway, I'm not, unless my peers have another opinion on that. I just think it's something we need to consider.
I think there's always a possibility, if you do levy the fine according to the per violation, if they want to appeal it, they can still come before this body and explain why this was a one-off circumstance and why it should be reduced. They still have that opportunity, so it would just be increasing that amount to them if you wanted to consider that.
I'd like us to table this one and represent it and review it and then maybe represent it.
Yeah.
Okay.
there again, just learning how you guys do this so we can sign off on it and feel comfortable about it. So,
I agree.
Thank you. And that's all I've got. Everything else looked really good. Jim, Alexis, you have something?
I just had a general question. It seemed like I noticed a lot of cases where dealerships had closed, and like there was 15, 56, 58, and there might have been some more, but dealerships were closed, and we referred them to their surety bond. And then I read case number 121, and this particular dealer's surety bond had expired. I'm wondering, is there a way that we could know when somebody's surety bond expires? I mean, that
We do track that as far as their surety bond covers the period of time in which the vehicle was sold. So if the vehicle was sold during that period of time that the bond was effective, though it may be expired now, then they will go ahead and receive the surety bond at this point in time because they can claim against that one.
Okay,
they can claim against that bond,
makes
but we
sense.
do track it. We do send notifications to the individuals, and then once we identify that the individuals are in an expired state on insurance or bond, we do refer that either over to the field people, depending on what the appropriate action is at the time, or over to legal to advance the disciplinary process, because as we all know, that's where the high risk for the consuming public comes in, is either from the surety bond or from the motoring public because they don't have the proper insurance that they should have on their liability coverage.
Okay, that answered that. Thank you.
Does the insurance company have an obligation to notify us when the surety bond has expired?
That's correct. They
Okay.
are, the Motor Vehicle Commission is listed as certificate holder on the bond and the insurance. So once they go into expired state, we get either an expiration or a cancellation notification. And we do have a staff member in the office that's dedicated, at this time, we have a staff member that's dedicated to doing nothing but that, but the insurance and bond management.
One question from the committee?
I did have one more. Number 18, it seemed like we opened a case against somebody about advertising, but then down below it said that the Attorney General had approved the advertising. I mean, I don't know. Does the Attorney General take precedence? I assumed he would.
It's my case. The allegations were that, like one of the salespeople said that the AG approved it, but that was not the case. The AG did not approve it, and the AG did investigate on their own as well. So the salesperson that said that was only a temporary salesperson for that special. So he was informed not to do that, and the dealership had no connection to that salesperson other than him coming in for that special. So if that makes sense.
Unlicensed salesperson, was it a special event sale?
Yes.
Yeah.
More question? Any more comments? There being none rather, I guess we'll have a correction on number 65, which the dealer would be flagged and follow up with an inspection in 90 days. And number 81 flagged also follow up with a 90-day. And number 140, they will represent that case. The staff would look into it and represent that case. Okay? So with that said and done, I need a motion to adopt the report subject to the final vote of the final commission.
Motion to adopt.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. Since there be no more information regarding the motor vehicle lead report, we motion that we close the meeting. Do we have a motion?
Motion to close.
Do we have a second? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered.
Thank you, Chairman. We'll reconvene at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Call the meeting for the Motor Vehicle Commission this morning, open it up, and it is 9:01, and I will pass the meeting now to Paula.
Thank you. And I want to take just a moment. Obviously, we have a new chairman. John Roberts has been appointed as chairman of the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission by Governor Lee, and he signed his oath to faithfully execute his duties. And of course, Chairman Roberts will, John Roberts will preside over today's meeting. So I'd like to ask that we give a round of applause recognizing John. Also, I'd like to take just another additional moment before we progress with the agenda to recognize the Motor Vehicle Commission staff and the legal staff. We have a lot of new faces on board, so this is a good opportunity for everyone. And I'm going to look around the room, and hopefully I get all the names correct. And I'm going to ask the members of staff to please stand so that the commission can recognize you. Starting in the back of the room is Timothy McCoy, running the electronics. Barry Whitson, who is the general manager. Marcia Bynum, standing next to Barry. Mike Finari. Mike, wave your hand. Mike has joined us recently. He comes to us from the state of New York, from the Ethics Commission, correct? Correct. Yeah, he has a regulatory background in the Ethics Commission, so he's been a great add to the team. And then Jim Harper's been with us for a while. He works the dealer's license. He was promoted from internally and retired from FedEx. Absolutely. Is that correct? Absolutely. And these two gentlemen, Mike and Jim, work with the dealer licensing. They are your dealer licensing specialist. Portia Coffey, wave your hand, Portia. Portia comes to us from Department of Safety. She worked with commercial vehicle enforcement. And she's been with us, about 3 months now? About 3 months. So she's been a great add to the team. She's kind of a generalist. We have her doing a lot of different things. I want to see how much she can learn. So, and then we have Miss Felicia Ballard. Miss Felicia has been with us for about 2 years now. She works in temporary service, but she works all your insurance and bond management. And, you know, she starts with a courtesy call, and she gets a little bit more aggressive after that. Let's see. Have I missed anyone? Okay, so up here we have Chris Russell on the end, who is the paralegal in the legal division. Chris, I'm taking credit for Chris. I hired him first, and he worked with the Motor Vehicle Commission staff and dealer licensing. And then legal stole him away. He got a promotion, and so we're happy for him. And then we have Stuart Huffman, which is one of our litigators. Erica Smith, one of our litigators, and then Marsha Bush, who is our new staff attorney. I'm sorry. I'm hung up there. I got all down to that point. And then we have Jason. What's your last name?
Just whatever.
Who has been around. Jason does a little bit of everything and anything, and they're a great bunch to work with. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the chairman, and we can begin.
Executive Director Shaw, will you call the roll?
Okay. Chairman Roberts.
Here.
Commissioner Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Galvin.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Fox.
Here.
Commissioner Kramer.
Here.
Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Melton.
Here.
Commissioner Murray.
Here.
Commissioner Norton.
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn. Here. Commissioner Tomaso.
Here.
Commissioner Levy. Commissioner Levy is a work assignment that he could not get excused from. Commissioner White. Here. Commissioner Evans.
Here.
Commissioner Barker.
Here.
Commissioner Tribanian.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Take it on down to the meeting notice.
This meeting's date, time, and location have been noticed on the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission website, included as part of this year's meeting calendar since October 15, 2018. Additionally, the agenda for this month's meeting has been posted on the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission's website since April 23, 2019. This meeting has also been noticed on the tn.gov website.
Hey, everyone was mailed an agenda. What's your pleasure on the agenda?
Commissioner Jackson, motion that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Okay. Everyone received copies of the minutes. And what's your pleasure on the minutes?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, we accept the minutes.
I second it.
Any further discussion on the minutes? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Executive Director Shaw, will you take care of the salesman dealer appeals?
Absolutely. At this time, we will move forward with the appeals for license denial. The first person on the agenda is Mr. George Simmons with Rusty Wallace Nissan, Knoxville, Tennessee. If they could come forward, please.
Director Shaw, may I read an excerpt from legal about
Absolutely.
Mr. George Simmons? In the case of Mr. George Simmons, the documented convictions are for felon in possession of a firearm, aiding and abetting in possession with intent to distribute 5 grams or more of a mixture and substance containing a cocaine base, carrying and discharging firearms during and in relation to a drug trafficking crime, and fugitive in possession of a firearm on November 1st, 2004. From the documents received by the Commission, it appears that the applicant received 3 Class C felonies and 1 Class C felony with a sentence of 15 years, followed by 4 years of supervised probation. This application may be denied under Tennessee Code Annotated 55-1714 A1C until October 5th, 2029.
Yes, my name is George Simmons.
Please speak into the mic so that
Okay.
for the minutes.
My name is George Simmons. I got released on May 18th, 2017. And ever since I've been out, I have been working. I've been doing everything I was supposed to do. I started back in the wash bay when it was Fenton. I washed cars, detailed them real good. When Rusty Wallace, when Mr. Ray Huffaker and Mr. Gene Morrison came in and bought out the Fentons, they came back and they let us keep our jobs and everything. So during that process, I just asked Mr. Morrison and Mr. Ray Huffaker could I have a chance to grow. I was honest about my past and everything. I didn't lie to him about one thing. I was honest to him about it because I told him, I said, I may messed up in my past, but I have a bright future. So he said, give me a second. He said, let me go through everything, everything that he had to go through. So one day I came in. He said, George, how would you like to be my lot porter? I said, thank you. I would love to be your lot porter. And he said, I said, what about being a salesman? He said, well, we're going to take it slow. I said, yes, sir. And so now, I just want the opportunity to be able to feed my family, be a great man, and show a positive outlook to other people that's been in prison and everything, to let them know that there is a way out here to live, that you can change. So I started speaking in Morgan County Correction Facility. I go in and speak to inmates now to let them know that you can come out here and do the right thing.
Did you bring anybody with you from the dealership?
Yes, sir. I brought Mr. Gene Morrison, our general manager.
Would he like to speak at this time?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to say thanks so much for taking the time to meet with George and listen to this. I've done this 29 years. I've never been here one time. It takes a lot to get me to a point where I will come speak for a man, because I honor the integrity of the automobile business, honor the integrity of what we do for a living and how we all make a living. I like the way we keep our standards high, and I want to keep them even higher. I've been asked several times to come here before, and I never have. When I met George washing cars, he'd come in on his day off to wash cars, come up to me, says, Gene, your grass back here is getting high. It don't look right. Can I mow the yard? He said, I need some extra money. I want to mow the grass. So he'd come in, mow the grass. We'd pay him for that. Then when he started wanting to be a salesman, we got to be a lot porter, and he works unbelievably hard as a lot manager, moving cars, stocking in keys. It's incredible what the man does. When I first started really noticing his character, he got approved for a car loan. He could only get approved for one. But his daughter's at MTSU, and he gave her the car. So George's wife, who he married his high school sweetheart, we make fun of him on prom night because he's got some goofy pictures of him and his wife at prom. It's beautiful. 27 years ago, but she stuck with him all through this. A great family. His daughter at MTSU. He's got a sophomore at Fulton High School in Knoxville playing basketball. Just a beautiful family. Wife's got her own business. There's a dichotomy of what this man has done from where he was to where he is. When I went to watch him speak middle of the month last month at that correctional facility, there was 82 men in there. All of them stood and gave him a standing ovation at what he's done. It's a program the governor set up several years ago, and it's hardcore with like an 8% recovery rate. Now, these men that go through this program are on a 70% recovery rate. And this lady in charge of this program, I'm sorry, I should have been better prepared. I should have had her name. I don't have it, but she's willing to come speak too. She met George at the lot, fell in love with him, heard his story, and asked him to come speak to the men. So he's got to go back next week because they've had 12 or 14 more new men come in, and he's just incredible. I would not be here wasting your time, ladies and gentlemen, if I didn't sincerely believe this guy would be a great representation of the car business. When a man got approved for one car and gave it to his daughter, it's pretty good stuff. So, any
Chairman
questions
Roberts,
or anything?
I have questions for Mr. Simmons.
Sure. Mr. Simmons?
Mr. Simmons, have you had any issues since you've been released? Was anyone injured when you fired the weapon? Okay, that's good.
Question. How long have you been employed with Rusty Wallace?
With Rusty Wallace ever since they took over from the Fentons.
11
months ago.
Okay.
Yes.
And in the notes it says there's no evidence of rehabilitation. Or are you currently doing anything for yourself? Obviously, you're speaking to others, and that's admirable. But are you doing anything for yourself as far as maintenance? Did you have an abuse problem as far as drugs? Were you a user?
No, sir. But I took, while I was incarcerated, I took drug programs. I took anger management programs. And since I've been out, I have graduated an anger management program, too.
All I have.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I might add, I've known Mr. Morris for over 20 years, and he's really a good man. He's well known in the Knoxville area dealerships, and if he thinks enough of this man to come down here with him to try to get his license, I'm going to make a motion that we give him his license.
Second.
Okay. Got a motion and a second.
Barker, second.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We need a roll call.
Roll call. Excuse me. Thank you.
Everything's a roll call here. Roll call vote.
Yes, roll call vote.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
Yes.
Commissioner Melton,
Yes.
Commissioner Trebanian,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Barker,
Yes.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Norton,
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kramer,
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso,
Yes.
Chairman Roberts.
Yes.
Motion carries. Your license will be approved.
Hey, thank you for giving me this great opportunity.
Everyone for your time.
Timothy Cook, could you come forward, please?
Case of Mr. Timothy Cook, the documented conviction is for aggravated burglary on January 8th, 2018. From the documents received by the Commission, it appears that the applicant received a Class C felony and sentence of 180 days in jail, followed by 3 years of supervised probation. His application may be denied under Tennessee Codes annotated 55-1714 A1C until March 12th, 2026.
Good morning, everybody. As you stated, my name is Dylan Cook. I just want to thank you guys for letting me come up here this morning and allowing me the opportunity to speak to you guys. I started with a dealership about 3 months ago, working 2 jobs. I would come in the afternoons and make follow-up calls to customers that had bought cars, as well as service customers that had been through our lot, and it's something I really liked. I first approached them about a salesman's license, and they were willing to, kind of help me through the process, and I'm grateful for that. So I've been with them for about 3 months, and since then I've left my other job and come to work for them full-time doing that job, and I really like it. It's something I really want to do. Worked in sales before, and it's something I want to continue to do. I hope that you guys can look, over my past. Since I've come out, I've bettered myself. I still have a long way to go, but at the same time, I've tried to become a better man. I work in the community, helping with volunteer events and things like that, as well as helping with the dealership, doing things that they do in the community as well. I want to be able to help the people in my small town know that, if you have a past, and that if you get in trouble, that you can come back from it and better yourself as a person, that you don't have to be stuck that way. And I think that this job will help me do that. With your guys' help, I would like to be able to continue to grow from that.
Mr. Cook, did you bring anyone with you?
Yes, I did. My sales manager, Jason.
Would he like to speak?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. We hired Dylan on about roughly 3 months ago to make follow-up phone calls for service to make sure everybody was happy and with what was happening in the service department, and follow up with customers that had purchased a vehicle for making sure they're also 100% happy, and see what we can do to make them happy if they weren't. We believe that Dylan understands what he had done wrong. We also understand that he is ahead of schedule on paying off his restitution. He shows up every day early. He stays late when we need him to. He goes above and beyond what we ask of him. We believe that he deserves, or hopefully we can get a second opportunity to show that he's changed and he's reformed, and he's trying to go down the right path to be successful and show other people that he can be successful. And I do thank you all for your time this morning on this. And if it was so close to the end of the month, I wouldn't mind coming, but it's the end of the month, so that's why I'm here.
Question for either one of these gentlemen?
Chairman Roberts have questions
Okay.
for Mr. Cook. Would you please tell us about your crime and what happened and the circumstances around it?
When it happened, I was going through a pretty rough time in life. I just moved back home, and all of my friends had, just went their separate way, and I was having a hard time with that. I got mixed in with a bad group of people, and I went into a friend's house and took some of his things. I later returned those things, and I ended up turning myself in because I know that I had done wrong, and I knew that I had to face the consequences, and I feel like if I just stepped forward and did that myself without having to be drug in, that would put me on the right path. I didn't try to fight anything. I took the charges that were given to me because I knew that it was I did it, and I was going to own up to that and take whatever they gave me. And here I am. I mean,
Do you have a drug problem or anything
No,
along
ma'am.
those lines? What did you take?
Couple electronics, Xbox, PlayStation, things like that.
How much time did you serve?
180 days.
Okay.
Questions?
One more, Commissioner. Restitution, where are you at on that as far as?
I'm about halfway through it.
Okay.
I pay monthly. I see my probation officer monthly. Drug test. Never failed one. I'm always on time for those as well.
Have a motion?
Move.
Second.
What's the motion?
Approve the license.
Approve. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner West?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
Yes.
Commissioner Melton,
Yes.
Commissioner Tribanian,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Barker,
Yes.
Commissioner Fox,
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Norton,
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Kramer,
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso,
Yes.
Chairman Roberts.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Michael
Thank you.
Armour with Jones Chevrolet, would you please come forward?
Case of Mr. Michael Armour, the documented convictions are for identity theft, arson, and a fraudulent insurance claim on March 1st, 2010. From the documents received by the Commission, it appears that the applicant received a Class C felony and a sentence of 8 years with an early release date of September 21st, 2016. His application may be denied under Tennessee Code Annotated 55-17-14-A1C until September 21st, 2021. I would like to note on this applicant that he appealed his first denial on January 22nd, 2018. So this is his second time applying.
Good evening.
Addresses?
Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning. My name is Michael Armour. I'm 36 years old. I'm here today just to apply for my license again. I've been working for Jones Chevrolet as a service writer for the last year and a half. I committed some crimes years ago, and I learned from them. I've changed my life entirely. I'm an active member in my community and in my church. Just to be honest with you guys, for a long time I couldn't look myself in the mirror. I didn't like the guy who I was. It wasn't drugs, none of that. It was just I was going through a lot, and I didn't know how to contain it. I was grateful that I had people that believed in me and helped me through all my struggles. I'm sorry, it's kind of hard for me to talk. When all of this stuff happened, I didn't have any children. I was a single man out there wild. I have 2 girls now. I have a 6-year-old and a 5-year-old that looks up to me. I just want to be a better man for them. I want to do the right things. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I haven't been in any trouble. It's been about 11 years. I've been straightforward, trying to do everything I can. I just want to thank you for the time for letting me come back here today.
Did you bring someone with you from the store?
Yes, sir. My GM, Mark Hoppy.
Is willing to speak to us?
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to say that Michael's actually been with us 2 years. The first 6 months were spent in cleanup. Did a fantastic job. I'm 30 years in this business, and probably, and for sure, this is the first time I've been here, and really to have the opportunity to speak on his behalf. Really look forward to hopefully getting him where he can sell cars and make the kind of living that I know Michael can make. The reason I think it's important for him is when he talks about church and he talks about community, the number of people that he's brought into the dealership, quite honestly, has been astounding to me that because they want the opportunity to do business with Michael. Very straightforward, very real low maintenance employee, always early, always stays late, does anything and everything we ask of him. I think he'd have a tremendous future as a salesperson. I think Michael, to a large degree, epitomizes not just what I want out of an employee, but what we want out of our society as a whole. You know, so we hear all about that. What you don't hear about are the people that actually turn their lives around. And he's one of those guys. I've had the opportunity to spend a tremendous amount of time with Michael and could not be more impressed with the person. I've learned over the years I don't vouch for a lot of people, but I promise you I'll vouch for Michael Armour, a tremendous person, and would be a asset not to just our dealership but to the business as a whole.
Questions from the commission?
Chairman Roberts, I have a few questions for
Okay.
Mr. Armour. Since this occurred, have you been in any further trouble?
No, ma'am.
Was this a drug-related, or was this just, would you tell us a little bit about what happened?
With my charges, it was just, I was on the wrong path. I was hanging with wrong people, and I wasn't being a follower. I mean, I wasn't being a leader. I was a follower. I was just listening to what people was telling me, and I was seeing what they was doing, and I was involved in it. Just being honest, I was a failure. I mean, just simple. I was a failure. I lost a child. I lost my first kid and my fiance in 2005 in a car accident. Drunk driver hit them, killed both of them. It sent me into depression, and I just didn't care. I was just running wild, doing crazy things.
The questions?
One question. So that means you've had no violations of parole or probation since your release?
Yes, sir, you're right. No, I haven't been in any trouble.
Quick question. The identity theft, how long ago was the identity theft? And what exactly took place? That's a big concern at dealerships.
It was 2000, if I'm correct, 2008. It was a credit card that wasn't mine that I used, and that's what happened to the identity theft.
Alvin, you say this is your second time coming in front of the board?
Yes, sir.
First time, and you worked at the same dealership, I assume, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And were you a service rider then the first time?
No, sir.
You were a porter?
Yes, sir.
Based on the effort that I see and the willingness of doing it again the second time, I think we should grant Mr. Arnold his license. I might make a motion.
Okay.
Second, Commissioner Vaughn.
Further discussion? Executive Director Shaw, will you call the roll?
Commissioner West?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Melton?
Yes.
Commissioner Tribanian?
Yes.
Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Commissioner Barker?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin? Commissioner Norton?
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kramer?
Director, I'm going to need to abstain on this case.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso?
Yes.
Chairman Roberts?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Aaron Tarabi, would you please come forward? Modern Auto Sales.
In the case of Mr. Arian Tarabi, the documented convictions are for tampering with evidence and dissemination of unlawful photographs on November 1st, 2017, assault domestic bodily injury on February 5th, 2018, and violation of an order of protection on December 4th, 2018. From the documents received by the Commission, it appears that the applicant received a Class C and E felony and 2 Class A misdemeanors. This application may be denied under Tennessee Code Annotated 55-1714 A1C until June 20th, 2027.
Would you like to speak?
Yes, sir. Hello, my name is Arian Tarabi. First, I want to thank you all for granting me this opportunity to be here and plead my case. I'm only 19 years old, so there's that. I might not be. It might not have been enough time since I was charged with those charges to prove that I'm out here doing better. But since my release on my misdemeanor charges, I did 6 months on that. I was released during my incarceration. I did complete 26 weeks of BIP, and I completed the six weeks of the SAFE program. I did 8 weeks of parenting. I was not a parent while incarcerated, but upon my release, with the same girl that the misdemeanor charge occurred with, we had a baby, and that's why I got the order of protection violation, because I was with the mother of my child, and since then we have no issues or anything. The whole simple assault charge was some type of confusion between her and her mother and me, and there was a whole lot of chaos which resulted with that. But my felony charge of unlawful photography and tampering with evidence occurred when I had been 1 month into my 18th birthday. Detectives came and they got me for that because an ex-girlfriend of mine had sent me nude photographs of herself. And upon our breakup, I guess anger and tempers rised, and she went and she lashed out, told her parents about it, and next thing I know, I'm getting in trouble for having those photos of her on my phone. So I was arrested for that and trying to break my phone. After I got out on that, I made my bond, and I went straight to my uncle because I had always, liked the car business, and I feel like that's what I want to do with my life, get into business. I've gotten back into that after my 6 months served. I got back into the car business. I got released on June 21st. Went straight to him. I've been working there ever since. I've gotten accepted into Columbia State College in Franklin, Tennessee. I've had a 24 on my ACT. I obtained my high set diploma while incarcerated. I did not sit in there and do nothing. I feel like I've done a lot. I'm still doing a lot to better myself. I still go to a 26-week anger management program with my probation office. My probation officer is Latria Morrison, and her office is in 220 Blanton Avenue. I go there every month. I have never failed a drug test. I've never had a drug problem. I've never had an aggravated charge. I'm not a sex offender. I've never committed any burglaries or thefts or murders or anything of that sense. So I feel like I deserve a chance. Being as young as I am, I feel like this is what I want to do in life. Well, this is part of what I want to do in life besides school. So if y'all would please give me the chance to become a salesman. And I've brought my uncle who owns
What's your uncle?
Yeah, this is my uncle. He owns the car dealership. And
would you speak to us?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for your time. I've been in his life since he was a child. He grew up in my house with his parents when they came to the States. He had some difficulties in his life. His father wasn't a good dad. I took care of him, and I've been watching him. I know he made mistakes, but I gave him many chances, and I still will give him, because I have another 3 businesses that I'm running. So I want him to learn and grow. Now that he has a son last week, I want him to be a good father. I've been talking to him every day to make sure he does it right, because I've been teaching him, but not having a good father in the house, it will affect on him too much. But now the father is out, so he's been very good. He comes to work on time. He even goes to work on Sunday. He wants to be successful. Now that he's a father, he wants to be a good father for his son. So I want to see if he can have another chance, because I know he loves cars like I did, but I want him to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick question. Is there currently an order of protection on the mother of your child, or has that been lifted?
That has been lifted. Her and her mother realized that it was when the charge occurred and that order of protection was placed on me. Like I said, it was a lot of confusion and chaos with her and her mother and her sister and everything. But upon my release, her mother and I sat and talked, and she admitted it. She admitted to what part she had in the whole situation, and her mother and her went to the court building and they got it lifted.
Thank you.
Commission members, I would just like to note that the conviction is for dissemination of unlawful photographs, not merely possession. So that's what the court found, was that the conviction was for dissemination of nude photographs.
Questions?
Question, do you currently have a valid Tennessee driver's license?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
If I could just add, you referenced that 2 programs that you had completed, DIP and the SAFE program. If you don't mind, expand on what those things are for the Commission.
Okay, the SAFE program is a 6-week class I took with in the Harding Place facility, and that's for like people who, it basically talks about domestic violence, how there's more types of abuse than one. There's physical abuse, but there's also emotional abuse, financial abuse, there's verbal abuse, there's all these things that I never knew was domestic violence. Like, I never knew any of this until I took that class. So when I went to that class, they taught me, and it basically expanded my knowledge on the whole situation, how it's not just putting your hands on a woman or on your other partner. It could be the other way too, putting your hands on a man that is domestic abuse or abuse. There's multiple forms of that, and that's what that class taught me. The 26 weeks BIP basically speaks on the same thing, but it goes further in depth because it is 26 weeks instead of 6. And the 26 weeks anger management, that's what I'm doing currently. I go to that every Monday. I'm supposed to go today at 3 o'clock as well. And my uncle is very lenient with me on my schedule, and he always lets me leave if I got to go report to probation, take my drug tests, or if I got to go to a class or anything of the sorts. I also did my parenting class while I was incarcerated. I also got a horticulture certificate. I really enjoyed gardening while I was incarcerated. I found peace in gardening. We grew all types of vegetables, and that was fun too. And yeah, I did obtain my high set equivalency diploma, and that's why I got accepted into college, because they seen that I'm not just a criminal. Like, I'm not like worthless. I guess they seen some type of worth in me. So that's basically it. Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner Vaughn, I have a few more questions for you. Have you been in any further trouble since this has occurred?
No, ma'am.
Will you expand upon the pictures and exactly what you did with those pictures when you received them?
Well, I received like more than like 50 photographs and videos from my ex-girlfriend.
How old is your ex-girlfriend?
She was 16 at the time, and I had just turned 18. So we had a two-year difference in age. We broke up about a month and a half before I turned 18. So there was a whole lot of conflict with her people calling me and saying like some foul words to us, me and my mother, calling my mother, harassing us, basically saying your son did this and that to my daughter. So my ex, she had got exposed on social media, and the reason that we broke up was because she was sending nude photographs to other guys. That's why we broke up. So I was the boyfriend that had been with her for almost 2 years. So she basically told her mom and everybody else that it was me. Everything was me. And her sisters backed her up on it. She has 2 sisters. They backed her up on it. I mean, it was high school nonsense. Like, it was just, it shouldn't have happened. I had all the photos on my phone, and I did not post any of them to social media, but I did take that charge, the guilty charge, because I felt like I need to just I need to get this all behind me. I need to take it, because I did have photos of her on my phone, and I realized
Like, to be
that.
perfectly honest with you, that does not make any sense to me at all. Why you would take that charge if you just received the photos.
I didn't know anything about the legal system. My lawyer, I didn't know anything.
And these
Like,
are 2 different women we're discussing, correct?
No,
The person
one.
that sent the pictures is the mother of your child? Is that correct?
No.
Okay, so the assault charge is
That's
the mother of your child?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
and then
ma'am.
the pictures those are from a different...
Yes,
Okay,
and
so there are
sent
2 different.
Yes, they're 2 different people. They sent the girl that sent me the photos. They sent her to Kurdistan, so she could not get on the stand, and she could not get cross-examined. She could not get caught in her own lies. And my lawyer told me this. That was like, if you sign this, you will get 4 years probation and judicial diversion. And after 4 years, if you don't mess up, then you can get all this expunged and put behind you. So I was like, okay, let me just do this, because I know I'm not a criminal. I know I don't do drugs. I know I don't steal. I know I don't rob anything. So I expected myself to do my 4 years and put this behind me. But the simple assault, like I said, that happened with my next girlfriend, and that's where I messed up with the diversion, so I cannot put that behind me anymore. I can't put that felony charge behind me. So
what was the time? Oh, sorry, fair. Go ahead.
So the charge of assault, what occurred?
we were staying in a hotel room, me and my girlfriend, and we had gotten to an verbal argument regarding, like, I thought I seen her conversating with other guys, like, on her phone. So I was basically accusing her of it, and then it got heated, and it rised, and it got heated, and basically she what's it called? Like, on the motel, there's like a wooden table. Like, she basically started banging her head against the table, just acting crazy. So this was because I was trying to leave the hotel room, exit the situation. So if I tried to grab my pants, put them on, get dressed, grab my backpack, anything, and leave, she would do this to make me stay. Like, she would do all this just so I can stay there.
But this is the mother of your child?
Yes,
that you're
yes,
talking
ma'am.
about?
And since then, she's received mental help and self-help, because she did suffer from suicidal depression and self-harm. She went through all that, but she's received help for that too. But that's why I said there was a lot of chaos and confusion around that, and her mother came to realize that as well. That's why the order of protection has been since lifted.
So what was the date of that?
That was early January. I'm sorry.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am. And I did 6 months after that. After
18.
That was 2018.
2000
January
yeah, 2018.
And then
Sorry.
The conviction was in June.
Sorry. Yeah, 2018. And I did 6 months after that. Got released June 21st.
Mr. Chairman, quick question. What's the timeline from when you signed off on the pictures issue to when you had the issue? I guess it was January of 18 when you did the other. Do you remember when you signed off on the picture issue with the district attorney? Was it like 6 months before that, a year before that?
It was a year before that, October.
Something like that?
Yeah, October.
Okay. I'm just trying to get the timeline
2016,
straight.
I think. I'm not.
October of 16 or 17?
I have the papers. Let me.
He was convicted for the photographs on November 1st, 2017.
On November
Yeah.
1st, 2000.
Any other questions?
Chairman, I have a question. At the time of the fighting with your girlfriend in the hotel room, how old was your girlfriend?
How
How old was she?
17.
And you were?
19.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
I would just like to state for the record, Mr. Tarabi is not on the registered sex offender. So even though he took those classes, he's not a registered sex offender.
And there's also a law where it states if a person is under 18, there's a 3-year law. So I did not break any type of law dating a 17-year-old while I was 19. We just had a 2-year age difference.
We have a motion on this case?
Question. Legal. Is that a Tennessee law?
I'm not familiar with that, but there were no charges surrounding, him dating the 17-year-old at that time. That would be with a different woman. The charges for the photographs and the 15-year-old, there was nothing about, a statutory rape or anything like that. So that wouldn't be something that we would need to take into consideration. I think it would just be the assault.
Mr. Jackson, I motion that we grant him a license.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Executive Director Shaw, will you do a roll call vote?
Commissioner West?
No.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Melton?
No.
Commissioner Chibanian?
No.
Commissioner Lee?
No.
Commissioner Barker?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Norton?
No.
Commissioner Vaughn?
No.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kramer?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
No.
Commissioner Tomaso?
Yes.
Chairman Roberts?
Yes.
Take the vote. Commissioner Tomaso, can you confirm your vote?
It was a yes vote.
Okay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Again for your time.
Yes. Thank you.
John Wahhabi with Duran Auto, Inc. Are you in the audit? John Wahhabi?
What do we do?
I'd like to make a motion that we uphold the denial.
Second.
And a yes vote is to uphold the denial.
Any further
We ran into that
discussion?
problem before.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, just for the record, I wanted to clarify on Mr. Wahidi's conviction. So those 2009 charges that we originally saw, there was an 8-year sentence, and it ended up that he only served 4 years probation. The 4 years in jail were not served. They were suspended. So the original analysis on that conviction would have expired in 2018, and the commission would not have discretion. In looking and confirming that his sentencing, I discovered a 2014 theft charge that he did not disclose to the commission. So that still gives the commission discretion to deny until December 2019. So I just want to state for the record that we're not denying on the 2009 charges, that we are denying on the 2014 theft charges, and I can amend his file and just have that on record for the for his file. But we still do. It's a theft charge. So
We need a roll call vote.
We do.
Roll call
Mhm.
vote. Okay. Would you do that?
Commissioner West?
No. Oh, to uphold. Yes, to uphold
Would
denial,
you like to
please.
change your vote, Commissioner
Would you
West?
please uphold the denial?
Yes. I was going to say.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Melton?
Yes.
Commissioner Chibanian?
Yes.
Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
Commissioner Barker.
Yes.
Commissioner Fox.
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Norton.
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Kramer.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso.
Yes.
Chairman Roberts.
Yes.
Motion carries to uphold the denial. That concludes our agenda for appellants. Is there anyone else in the audience that had felt that they were submitted a appeals request that your name hasn't been called? Okay, thank you.
Executive Director Shaw, will you give your report?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Since the last meeting in January 2019, the following activities have occurred. 68 dealers have been opened or relocated. As of April 23rd, active license status, we have 3,723, which we are seeing a small decline in dealer licenses. Applications in process, we have 31. Distributor manufacturers, we have 141. That's a decline. We have a few decline there. And we are approaching the manufacturer, distributor, and auto auction representative renewal period for the month of June. So that will, we do expect an increase, an influx of activity during that period of time. And also, our numbers may be adjusted after that depending on who renews and who does not. Auto auctions, we have 28, representatives 668, salesperson 17,059, which is an increase from the previous meeting. Dismantlers 266, RV dealers 46, RV manufacturers 74, and motor vehicle show permits requested were 4. Complaints report, the complaint report, open complaints from 2019 to April 2019. Number of complaints opened, 184. Number of complaints closed, 113. We are currently in the annual sales reporting period. If you have not submitted yours yet, you are late and you owe a $100 late penalty, and you will not be able to get your dealer tags on May 1st. So, and it is crunch time. So, and it can be submitted online. It is the most expeditious way to complete that process if you have not done so. Vehicles reported sold in 2018 at this point is 1,197,802. Recreational vehicles reported sold in 2018, 8,893. Total online annual sales reports collected at this point in time is 2,848. Late annual sales reports collected, which is collections ongoing. Under the performance metrics taken from March 2019, based on which is our last received CFG Customer Focused Government Report, the average number of days to license an applicant is 5.7 days, which is far exceeding our timeline. Our CFG metric is at 79%. I do want to offer on that the implementation that was being measured under the customer focused government was the implementation of the core system, which went live about 2 years ago. So last year you may recall that you were seeing 100 and something % increase. They're measuring against pre-core implementation. So we have maintained a very low licensing period of time for a period of years now. And so you will not see the same levels of increase because basically you've proven that the implementation was effective. Compliance, we're at 94%, 94.3 as of March 31st last. Previous month was at 87.82%. That is, of course, centralized complaints manages that for us. And then we'll compare that against actually 2017 when that process was changed, and it was then at, which was our baseline at 97.97. The Motor Vehicle Commission satisfaction rating Quarterly satisfaction rating is at 98%. Disciplinary action report, total collected to date in this period is $12,550, with comparing to the previous meeting, which was $42,550.50. Online adoption across all professions, we are currently at 83%, 83.86% online adoption of all of our 1010 applications, which is new applicants. We measure that because that's what puts people to work. And so 83% online adoption in about 2-year period of time. We went from basically 0 to 83%, so that's a pretty good achievement. Staff does a great job of driving them to the internet, so they've done a great job with that. Physical information, as of February 2019, the Motor Vehicle Commission had $132,521 deficit. In January 2019, the Motor Vehicle Commission has a $132,161 deficit. And then since the last meeting, I have been involved in several outreach events, either interacting with the industry, trying to reach consumers or the motoring public. I participated in the AMVA Internet Vehicle Sales Standing Committee in Baltimore in March. Also spoke at the Law Institute conference at that same meeting on Internet vehicle sales and subscription services. AMVA Standing Committee, which was other breakout sessions that we participated in. We also participated in the, Jason, you also participated in the 10 Smart Consortium, which is a group within Tennessee which is looking at autonomous vehicles, the technology development, the street, and not only just in the automobile, but in the streets, smart communities, and it's a consortium that Tennessee has, and heard some really innovative speakers, some folks from Arnold Air Force over there talking about the technology in the test base, which was very impressive. And they've agreed to speak at one of the national conferences that I'm involved in. I kind of recruited at that point because they've done such an outstanding job. I'm scheduled to speak at the County Clerk's Retreat in Pigeon Forge May 8th, and participate with Department of Safety in their Teen Drivers Camp, Driver Safety, and their Power Sports Safety Media event later this week. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you.
For questions.
Commissioner Jackson, motion to adopt the director's report.
Second.
Further discussion? Can we do a plural vote on this?
We don't need a roll call vote on this, I don't think.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. All right. Now the legal report. Assistant General Counsels Erica Smith and Stuart Huffman.
Good morning. The committee met before this meeting, and on number 65, it decided to flag and do a follow-up inspection within 90 days. Also on number 81. It was the same. It was to flag and do a follow-up inspection in 90 days. And number 140 was to table for representation, and the legal department was going to review that case again.
Commissioner Jackson. I motion that we adopt the legal report.
Second.
Further discussion? We can do a plural vote again?
Roll call.
Okay. Roll call?
We'll do a roll call.
Okay.
Can't
Would
go
you
wrong.
do that for us?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
How are you? Yes or no?
Yes. I gave aye. I gave you an aye this time.
Aye will work. Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Melton.
Yes.
Commissioner Tribanian.
Yes.
Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
Commissioner Barker.
Yes.
Commissioner Fox.
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Norton.
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn. Yes. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Kramer.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso.
Yes.
Chairman Roberts.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now for legislative updates, Assistant General Counsel Maria Bush.
Hello. So there aren't any that came through this session that were specific to Motor Vehicle Commission, but we did have two that were specific to dealers that I just wanted to brief you on. It's House Bill 533, and it exempts licensed motor vehicle dismantler and recyclers from maintaining records related to transactions for certain automotive parts. The bill adds a requirement that sellers of used automobile parts provide a bill of sale, including the source of the part. And this was signed on April 23rd, 2019, and becomes effective July 1st, 2019. Second, House Bill 538, and this is awaiting governor's signature, and it will be effective law when the governor signs. This bill eliminates a tow company's requirement to wait 30 days prior to selling an unclaimed vehicle. It also eliminates the requirement that certain abandoned vehicles left in a lot for 30 days be reported to the Department of Revenue. Lastly, the bill changes restrictions on certain fees that can be charged to an individual claiming a towed vehicle when daily storage charges are being charged. This bill becomes effective and will apply to vehicles taken into storage on or after that date. And that's all on the legislative update.
We have a motion to accept the legislative updates.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? Executive Director Shaw, will you call the roll?
Commissioner West.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Melton.
Yes.
Commissioner Tribanian.
Yes.
Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
Commissioner Barker.
Yes.
Commissioner Fox.
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Norton.
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Kramer.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso.
Yes.
Chairman Roberts.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now for committee reports. See, we have none.
I know there says there's no rule committee report, but I did have an update on a rule I wanted to let you guys know about really quickly. It is Rule 0960-01-.08 and Rule 0960-01.21. And there's a rule amendment regarding the conjoined doors and contact information where we added the email address. It's been approved internally through the commissioner, and now I'm going to submit it for review to the Attorney General's office and to the Governor's office. So I'll keep you guys updated on where we are with that.
Do we need to take any action on this?
Information purposes.
Any new business? Old business.
I think we probably should have stopped at new business. Is Chairman Eddie Roberts, is he in the room?
Yes, he is.
Chairman Roberts, would you come forward? It's in there.
We didn't recognize you without your tie.
We wanted to, Chairman Eddie Roberts, tried to sneak out of here totally unnoticed. And I tried to lure him in so that we could recognize him and surprise him. So I finally just had to say, we're not going to have it. We need you here. Come on. So I wanted to take this moment to recognize you, Chairman. Every chairman must devote a tremendous amount of time and energy to the duties and responsibilities and then appointed chairman in 2011. industry and measures to protect consumers from the risk of purchasing vehicles on a consignment agreement. Also administered over a very effective vetting process, which individuals who have displayed a commitment to changing their lives in a positive way. Recognition of your distinguished service to the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission. Would you like to make some comments? Here we go.
His comments, he said, here they are.
Let me give a back.
Okay.
So if I give you the cue.
You take over. We could.
No, please. I'll write this down. Well, anyway, briefly, I thank you so much. A few weeks ago by Governor Lee's staff my thoughts on the Motor Vehicle Commission. At that time, I was asked of my desire to continue.
I wasn't sure at that time what I wanted to do, but I did know this. Unless the governor wanted me to go, I wished to go at a time of just to ride off into the sunset. On a subsequent conference call, the governor's representative said that they had asked for comments and feedback on the performance of the Motor Vehicle Commission. What they got were condemnations from every part of the administration and the legislature. Their conclusion was that the motor vehicle is the best board in the regulatory system. I then told the representative that I wished to quietly go and ride off as soon as a new chair could be identified. In parentheses, John is an excellent choice and he will do a great job. I appreciate the support of so many. The administration, the motor vehicle staff, the Department of Commerce and Insurance, and our industry friends that attend our meeting. I especially wish to thank my distinguished colleague for your patience and support. Former Chairman Eddie Roberts. Let's give him a hand.
He's trying to run. He's like, okay, and following the meeting, we will have a reception in the adjoining room, and he's a new chairman, so thank you.
Yes, sir, buddy. Okay, so there's no old business, and do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Okay, better not be a no.
Johnny did good.
Room 1B.
Thank you. Thank you.
To continue recognition.